Hello there. There are warnings that more and more householders are on the verge of losing their homes. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. Click the little bell, select all, and then like and comment below. More than 750,000 households are at risk of defaulting on their mortgages, and that's according to the Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA, the government watchdog that ensures consumers get a fair deal from finance firms. And they tell us that even back in June last year, just after inflation started ramping up, that 200,000 households were already in arrears on their mortgages, and further that money was owed on 1 in 40 home loans. But further, because their mortgage costs were more than 30% of their income, a further 570,000 are at risk of going into arrears. That's 770,000 homes under threat in all. And over the last few months, inflation has been increasing, so making the problem worse. And even if inflation falls back to Rishi Sunak's immediate aim of less than half of what it is now, it'll still be at about 5% and continuing to eat into people's finances, albeit at a lower rate. And the worry the FCA has is that if a wave of repossessions occurs, that leads to forced sales. Then we could see house prices drop faster than they seem to be already headed for. And remember, it's generally forced sales where the seller has to take what they can quickly that pushes house prices down. But forbearance by banks and help from the government to prevent repossessions and forced sales will keep people in their houses and keep house prices from plummeting. Now, the FCA warning comes from a letter it sent to the cross-party Treasury Select Committee, and it does come with the caveat that just because some people are above the 30% of income threshold with their mortgage payments, it does not mean they will necessarily miss a payment. But it is an indicator of increased risk. Now, if UK inflation remains sticky, then the Bank of England may be forced to raise rates further than expected, pushing more stress onto homeowners. But that will not be immediate, because many will be protected as they are on some sort of fixed rate deal. The problems for them start when the fixed rate ends and they want to refinance to another fixed rate, which will in all likelihood be a higher rate than they were paying before. Couple that in with bills having gone up, and it can be a fast, slippery slope. And according to the Office for National Statistics, 1.4 million households are expected to be facing a mortgage payment increase this year. And the Bank of England says that could be an extra £3,000 a year apiece. And for those on interest-only mortgages, the payments could triple. The Bank of England also says that some 6 million mortgage holders are likely to see higher payments by the end of 2025 due to changing fixed-rate deals or as variable rates rise. Now, the last thing the government will want is a wave of repossessions. Not because it cares about the people affected, but because of how bad it will look on them when councils are overwhelmed with families looking for emergency accommodation and house prices start dropping, especially as we near a general election. And that latter point of falling house prices will not endear our Tory ministers with their banking chums. So if we do reach such a tipping point, no doubt there'll be some picking of fruit from the eternal government money tree, you know, the taxpayer, to keep the housing market afloat. Always seems to be money there to keep the property market going and helping the banks to prosper, doesn't there? Now, the Tories are giving up the election battle. Or at least some of the Ramona Tory grandees in the House of Lords are. Lords Heseltine, Patten and Clark, none of them known for their pro-UK independence tendencies, are all saying that maybe it's time to give Labour some time in number 10 and so give the Tories a rest and recuperation period, reports The Telegraph. Or more likely, increase the chances of reversing Brexit. Talking to Andrew Marr on LBC, Lord Clark reminisced about the days of Tony Blair coming to power and said he would probably feel the same now as he did back then, if Keir Starmer came to power. Which seems to be he'd be disappointed and angry to be out of office, but think that the chap in charge of the Labour Party looks okay, so it's probably about time the Social Democrats had a turn and gives us a rest. He seems very relaxed about handing the reins over. I wonder why. Then there's Lord Heseltine, who said back in June last year, "There are divisions within the Conservative Party which frankly, and I don't like the idea, a lost election might do something to heal." Now, none of them appear to have much affinity with Brexiteers and their aims, so one could conclude that they want to appear as loyal to their own party, but would on a Brexit balance prefer they lost and then see if Starmer will start showing his pro-EU colours and at least get us back into the EU single market. Who knows? And another woke uni department goes stupid. Yes, a department of the University of Southern California has decided that the word field, yes, field, is racist. So instead of talking about their field of work or field of study, it will be their practicum. So I assume all physical activity will now be conducted on the sports practicum. And the offending department is its School of Social Work. Well, what a surprise. In a letter from the uni department it said, language can be powerful, and phrases such as going into the field or field work may have connotations for descendants of slavery and immigrant workers that are not benign. Does that mean anyone named Professor Field would be barred from teaching there? Or how about non-white pupils with Field in their name, or even as part of their name? Will people from Sheffield be barred? This is intelligence-insulting kindergarten virtue-signalling garbage of the lowest level. So it'll probably be mirrored in the UK very soon. The university-inspired woke trash is going to rot our Western civilizations from the inside out. Which must be the aim. There can be no other explanation. Because it sure as hell isn't improving societal relations, is it? Now don't forget to leave us your questions on 07999 297 611 and we might play it back and answer it on the show. And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.